Look at your life for a second. Be honest. You work more than your parents did. You are more educated than your parents were. You have more technology than any generation in history. And yet, you feel poorer, more stressed, more trapped, more tired, more anxious about money than ever before. That is not an accident. That is not bad luck. That is not because you are lazy. It is because the system you live in was never designed to make you rich. It was designed to keep you running forever, from paycheck to paycheck, from bill to bill, from debt to debt, from crisis to crisis. Most people think poverty is a personal failure. They think it means you didn't try hard enough, didn't study enough, didn't grind enough, didn't hustle enough. But what if that story is a lie? What if poverty is not a mistake? What if it is a feature? What if millions of people being broke is exactly how this system survives? Think about this. If everyone was wealthy, who would work the worst jobs? Who would accept bad salaries? Who would tolerate abusive bosses? Who would work overtime just to survive? Who would stay silent out of fear? Nobody. A poor population is an obedient population. A stressed population is an easy population to control. And that is where this story really begins. Not in your bank account, not in your job, not in your bills, but decades ago, when the rules of money were quietly rewritten and nobody asked you for permission. In 1971, something happened that changed your future forever. Most people have never even heard about it. But it may be the most important financial event in modern history. That year, the United States stopped backing money with gold. Before that, every dollar represented something real, something physical, something limited. After that, money became numbers on a screen, unlimited, printable, controllable. From that moment on, governments could create money out of nothing. Banks could lend money that never existed. Debt could grow forever. And inflation became permanent, slow, invisible, relentless, like rust eating away at metal, year after year, without you noticing. Your parents could buy a house on one income. You need two incomes and still struggle. Your grandparents could save money and grow rich. Your savings lose value every year. Your wages barely move. Your expenses explode. Food, rent, healthcare, education, insurance. Everything rises, except your paycheck. That is not random. That is engineered. And once you understand how, you will never see money the same way again, because this system does not want you rich. It wants you dependent. Debt is not just money you owe. Debt is control. It always has been. For thousands of years, powerful groups understood one simple truth. If you control someone's debt, you control their future. In ancient civilizations, people who could not repay debt became servants. In medieval times, they became serfs. In modern times, they become employees trapped in loans. Different name, same system. Today, you are born into debt before you even understand money. Student loans, car loans, credit cards, mortgages, medical bills, buy now, pay later, installments, subscriptions, fees, interest. Everything is designed to lock you in early. They don't teach you how debt works in school. They teach you how to memorize facts, how to follow rules, how to show up on time, how to obey schedules, how to prepare for employment, not independence. Because an independent population is dangerous. A population in debt is predictable. Think about this. If you owe money, you cannot quit easily. You cannot take risks. You cannot start over. You cannot speak freely. You cannot walk away. You stay. You comply. You tolerate. You survive. And banks know this. They do not make money from rich people. They make money from struggling people, from interest, from late fees, from penalties, from minimum payments, from desperation. The credit card industry alone makes billions every year from people who never escape balances. Not from people who pay on time, from people who fall behind, from people who are trapped, from people who are drowning quietly. And the scariest part is, debt today is invisible. You don't see chains, you see plastic cards, you see apps, you see smiling advertisements, you see promises, easy approval. Instant access, no money down, low monthly payments, 0% interest. For now, they never show you the end. They never show you the total. They never show you the years. They never show you the cost. They show you comfort, convenience, relief. Just swipe, just sign, just click, just agree. And slowly, your future gets sold, one payment at a time, one contract at a time, one obligation at a time, until your entire life is pre-booked. Your salary is already spent before you even receive it. And here's the part most people never realize. Debt does not just take your money. It takes your time, your energy, your creativity, your courage, your confidence, your options. It turns dreams into luxuries. It turns freedom into fantasy. It turns survival into a full-time job. And once you're busy surviving, you never have time to question the system, which is exactly the point. But debt alone is not enough to keep people poor forever. For most of history, when productivity went up, workers got paid more. When companies made more money, employees shared the growth. When technology improved, Life became easier. That was the deal. Work hard, help the system grow, and you grow with it. But that deal was quietly broken, and almost nobody noticed. In the 1970s, something strange happened. Productivity kept rising. Machines got better. Computers arrived. Automation spread. Global trade expanded. Companies became more efficient than ever, but wages stopped moving. They flatlined, adjusted for inflation. Most workers today earn almost the same as their parents did 40 years ago. Some earn less, even though they produce more, even though they work longer, even though they are more educated, even though they are more skilled, even though they are more connected, more tracked, more measured, more pressured, more replaceable. Think about that. You are doing more, creating more value, generating more profit, but keeping less. Where did it go? It went upward, to executives, to shareholders, to investors, to corporations, to financial institutions, to people who do not clock in, to people who do not commute, to people who do not struggle with bills, to people who own the system. This is called wage stagnation. And it is one of the biggest silent crises in modern history, because when wages freeze, but prices rise, you fall behind automatically. Even if you do everything right. Housing doubled, education tripled, healthcare exploded, food increased, transportation increased, insurance increased, rent increased, utilities increased, taxes increased, everything went up, except your paycheck. So what do people do? They borrow, they use credit, they stretch, they delay, they juggle, they survive. They go into debt to maintain a normal life. Not luxury, normal. A place to live, a car to work, basic education, basic healthcare, basic dignity. And this is not an accident. This is policy, this is design, this is strategy. When labor is cheap, profits are high. When workers are desperate, employers have power. When people are replaceable, they're obedient. And today, you compete with the entire world. Outsourcing, immigration, automation, AI, robotics, algorithms, global platforms. Someone somewhere is always willing to work for less. And corporations use that leverage. If you complain, someone else will replace you. If you ask for more, someone else will accept less. If you leave, someone else is waiting. So wages stay low, while expectations stay high. Work harder, be grateful, hustle more, get another degree, get another certification, get another side job, get another gig, get another app, get another shift, get another hustle, and still fall behind. Because the game is not about effort, it is about position. And most people were never given one. And here's the brutal truth. You're not poor because you're lazy. You're poor because the system no longer rewards labor. It rewards ownership. Most people think inflation is just prices going up. They think it happens naturally. They think it is random. They think it is temporary. It is none of those things. Inflation is policy. It is engineered. It is a hidden tax. And it is one of the most powerful tools ever created to transfer wealth. From you to the system. When governments print money, they do not give it to workers. They give it to banks, to corporations, to institutions, to financial markets, to insiders. The money enters the economy at the top, not at the bottom. By the time it reaches you, prices have already risen, assets have already inflated, housing has already jumped, stocks have already moved, food has already increased, your wages arrive last, after everything costs more. So every year, your purchasing power shrinks, even if your salary increases, even if you get promotions, even if you work harder. You are running on a treadmill that keeps speeding up. You feel busy, you feel tired, you feel productive, but you're not moving forward. You're standing still. This is called the Cantillon effect. It explains why the rich get richer during inflation and why everyone else falls behind. Because those closest to money creation benefit first. They buy assets early. They borrow cheaply. They invest. They multiply. Meanwhile, you pay more for everything. Rent, groceries, gas, healthcare, education, insurance, utilities, everything. And they tell you it is temporary. They tell you it will stabilize. They tell you not to worry. They always say that. But look at history. Currencies always lose value. Always. No modern fiat currency has ever survived long term. Every single one collapses eventually. Through hyperinflation, through debt, through devaluation, through crisis, through reset. It is not if, it is when. Your savings account pays almost nothing, while inflation eats 5 to 10% a year. That means every year. Your stored labor disappears, silently, legally, automatically. Saving cash no longer protects you, it punishes you. And most people do not realize this. They think they are being responsible. They think they are doing the right thing. They think they are preparing. But the system is draining them, slowly, without drama, without headlines, without protests, just math. And once inflation and wage stagnation combine, the trap is complete. Low income, high prices, rising debt, shrinking savings, permanent stress. And people blame themselves. They think they failed. They think they are bad with money. They think they made wrong choices. No, they were placed in a losing environment. Most people wait for a breakthrough, a promotion, a lucky break, a big opportunity, a market boom. They think freedom will arrive one day. It rarely does. Because the system is not built to deliver it. It is built to delay it, to keep it always one step away. The people who escape are not smarter. They are not luckier. They are not born rich. They simply see the game. And once you see it, you stop playing it blindly. You stop chasing status. You stop upgrading for appearances. You stop borrowing for comfort. You stop working only for consumption. You start working for leverage, for skills, for ownership, for optionality. You build buffers, savings, investments, side income, networks, knowledge, not to flex, to breathe, to walk away when needed, to say no, to choose. You stop measuring success by salary. You measure it by freedom, how long you can live without permission, how long you can survive without approval, how many choices you really have. Because choice is power. Debt removes it. Inflation erodes it. Wage stagnation blocks it. But awareness restores it. Once you understand how money flows, how power concentrates, how incentives work, how systems protect themselves, you stop blaming yourself. And you start adjusting your strategy. You become intentional, not reactive. You prepare, not panic. You think in decades, not paychecks. You invest in learning, not illusions. You build quietly, while others cope loudly. And over time, that gap compounds between people who see and people who sleep.